Do you ever wonder where people like Gandhi, Will Smith, or even Steve Jobs drew their wisdom from? What gave them the clarity to lead, create, and inspire? For centuries, the Bhagavad Gita has been a silent force behind some of the most influential thinkers, leaders, and artists. It's not just a book. It's a timeless guide that resonates across generations. Its teachings have shaped how we view life, purpose, and action. Today, I want to share the stories of 5 iconic figures whose lives were profoundly influenced by the Gita. Each found unique meaning in its verses, using its wisdom to overcome challenges and fulfill their purpose. Let's explore how the Gita's teachings shaped their journeys, and how they can shape yours too. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of Indian independence, was deeply rooted in the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. For him, the Gita wasn't just scripture, it was a manual for life. One verse he often referenced was chapter 2, verse 47. You have the right to perform your duty, but not to the fruits of your actions. This principle guided his philosophy of selfless action, or nishkama karma. Gandhi believed in doing his duty without attachment to the outcome, whether it was the success or failure of a movement. But Gandhi's story didn't begin in India. In 1893, he traveled to South Africa to represent an Indian merchant in a legal dispute. What he witnessed there, the brutal oppression of non-whites under apartheid, profoundly changed him. It was in South Africa that Gandhi developed Satyagraha, his philosophy of non-violent resistance, deeply inspired by the Gita's teachings on steadfastness and dharma. During the Salt March, Gandhi walked 240 miles to challenge British rule. His journey was grueling, and the outcome uncertain, but he remained steadfast. The Gita's teaching reminded him, focus on the process, not the prize. For me, this teaching is a constant reminder. In a world driven by instant gratification, the Gita invites us to slow down and align with purpose. Next up is Will Smith, yes, the actor and musician. You might not immediately associate him with the Bhagavad Gita, but in his interviews you'll hear echoes of its wisdom. Will Smith often talks about self-discipline and ownership. One of his most famous quotes is, "The first step is you have to believe that it's possible. The second is taking full responsibility for making it happen." This aligns perfectly with the Gita's message of self-mastery. In chapter 6, verse 5, Krishna says, "Lift yourself by yourself. Let not the self become the enemy of the self." Will's life wasn't always glamorous. In his 20s, after achieving early fame, he went broke and faced humiliation. But instead of blaming others, he took ownership. He rebuilt his career through sheer discipline and belief in his potential. Where in your life are you waiting for a miracle? Will's story reminds us, the miracle is you taking action. Alan Watts, the renowned philosopher and spiritual teacher, found deep inspiration in the Bhagavad Gita. Known for his work on Eastern philosophy, Watts often spoke about detachment and the nature of the self. One idea he drew from the Gita was chapter 5, verse 18. The wise see the same divinity in a Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and even in the outcast. His teaching profoundly shaped his understanding of unity and interconnectedness. Watts saw life as a flow where separateness is an illusion. He often described life as a dance, not about reaching the end, but embracing the rhythm. Watts once shared a story about watching a river. He observed how it flowed effortlessly, adapting to rocks and obstacles without resistance. To him, this was the essence of the Gita's wisdom. Life isn't about control, it's about harmony. How often do we fight against life instead of flowing with it? Watts used the Gita to remind us that separation is an illusion. This list would be incomplete without mentioning someone who revolutionized the way we live, work, and communicate in the modern world. Steve Jobs, the legendary co-founder of Apple, may not have openly quoted the Bhagavad Gita, but its wisdom shaped the very foundation of his philosophy. Jobs was drawn to Eastern spirituality, particularly the practice of mindfulness and focus. He once said, "Focus is about saying no. You have to pick carefully." This reflects the Gita's lesson on prioritizing clarity over distraction. In chapter 6, verse 5, Krishna teaches, "Lift yourself by yourself. Let not the self become the enemy of the self." Jobs believed in simplifying life, not just in design, but in his personal choices. His trips to India and exposure to Eastern wisdom shaped his ability to stay present and make decisions that changed the world. When Jobs returned to Apple in the late 90s, the company was struggling. His first decision? Cut 90% of the product line. This focus allowed Apple to innovate and create iconic products like the iPhone. How much clutter in your life is holding you back? Sometimes, the key to greatness is cutting away everything that doesn't serve your purpose. Finally, we come to J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. His connection to the Bhagavad Gita is one of the most famous in modern history. After witnessing the first successful nuclear test, Oppenheimer quoted the Gita, chapter 11, verse 32. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." But what many don't know is that Oppenheimer carried a pocket copy of the Gita with him. He turned to its teachings to grapple with the immense moral weight of his creation. The Gita doesn't shy away from complexity. It acknowledges the difficult choices we face, offering guidance on how to act with wisdom and responsibility. What happens when doing your duty has unintended consequences? Oppenheimer's story challenges us to act with wisdom and accountability. The lives of these 5 individuals may seem vastly different, but the common thread is this: the Gita gave them clarity. Whether it was Gandhi's selfless action, Will Smith's ownership of his destiny, or Alan Watts's search for unity, they all found guidance in its timeless teachings. For me, the lesson is clear. The Gita isn't just a book. It's a mirror that reflects our struggles, a guide that illuminates our path, and a reminder that true transformation begins within. The Gita doesn't promise easy answers, but it gives us clarity when we feel lost, strength when we feel weak, and purpose when the world seems chaotic. Start small. Watch one video from Lessons of the Bhagavad Gita. Reflect on one teaching. Let the Gita guide you, not to become someone else, but to become the truest version of yourself. Drop a comment. The Gita is my guide. And don't forget to explore our next video, where we dive deeper into timeless teachings that can transform your life. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Let's keep learning, growing, and building a life of purpose together. Stay curious, stay intentional, and always remember, your transformation begins with you.